Hi, I'll be honest, I'm not looking forward to this. It's not that I don't want to do the work, it's just that I don't know what I'm going to run into. But first we need to get the Mustang to the center of the shop. Now I have it here in the center, finally, because that just took way too long. It's easy to push, but it's just annoying because you push forward and it goes sideways, you push sideways, and it just basically does the opposite of what you're doing. But anyways, now we can get started on it. We're removing the front dash today and everything that comes with it, but it's a little dark in here, so let me just bring a light. And we have some light. You know, this and my cordless ratchet, I'd say, are two of my most favorite things and that I mostly use every single time. And then this hood light, I've used this so many times, but for some reason, I always tend to use it just mostly on all my Mustangs. The interior is just like how we left off. It's completely stripped, but I do have a question. How do I clean all of this up? And also, how do I remove this sticky stuff here, because that's really hard to get off, and just pretty much how to prep it and clean it before I start working on removing all of the rust and sealing it. This is today's project. So again, all of the front dash, so that includes the steering wheel, the gauges, the entire front panel, the AC vents, you get it, the whole thing. I actually decided to clean up inside a bit just because I'm going to be there for quite some time removing all of the front dash, but I actually found something that I'm not too happy about. This area right here, it's just soft. The rust has gone through. You can see my finger goes through. It's pretty much just like the Camaro. I think like it's basically in the same spot. So I'm thinking I can just cut a big enough piece as to where it's not rusted anymore, and then I can just weld a piece there. Let me know in the comments below. So my plan is to remove the blue pieces first. So I'm going to start from the bottom and then work my way to the driver's side. This one just has 2 screws. It actually looks like it used to have 3, but one is missing, which is pretty normal in like things that I found in this car. There's a lot of just missing clips, missing screws, missing pieces in the engine. So I'm going to have a lot of fun trying to piece things together after and finding everything that's missing and putting it back. Oh, what's in there? There's no nuts, just a whole bunch of dirty stuff. Okay. This is what I do with any screws, any nuts, any bolts, with any part that I remove. I just place it on the part and then I store it away. And I make sure I don't move it ever again, because if not, it'll get lost. And then if I don't remember where it goes, the good thing is that I can just always watch my videos, which I have in the past, and then I know exactly where it goes. I was actually looking for YouTube videos on how to remove this whole front dash, and then I came across a Mercury Cougar actually that has the exact same interior as I think a 69 and a 70 Mustang. Okay, this is pretty easy. The only thing is like a million screws everywhere, so it just makes it really annoying. So nothing too exciting here, just a whole bunch of spider webs and then a whole bunch of broken pieces. I definitely need to replace this. Yeah, that's like all falling apart. So continuing with removing this blue part of the dash, so now making my way from the driver's side to the passenger side. There seem to be some annoying screws to get to, but we have to get to them. From what it looks like there's just like a few screws here more towards the passenger side and then some here on top, and then I think this whole blue part just comes off. But I guess we'll see once I remove them. Maybe there might be some hidden ones. Hopefully it's that easy. I hate having to do this manually, but there's no other way. This is already, I think this is probably like sun damage, but look how easily that breaks. This is by far the most uncomfortable removal. I think it's worse than removing the carpeting, even though that was a mess and that was all over the place. But this, it's like all these screws, they're in the most annoying position. Okay, so I got that one here, and now I need to get the other 2 standing. There's no way I can get it from inside. I think this should be the last one, and I should be able to remove this whole blue part. So let's see. Okay, it looks like it's moving. Is there something else holding it here? No, it's moving. Okay, maybe I need to go inside. Should be ready to come out. Okay. There's a lot more spider webs in here. I guess they were underneath this blue part of the dash. It's kind of a little hard. I'm trying to balance myself. Okay. I'm like halfway done and I can't wait for this to be over. So now, going to work on removing the gauges. So there's a few bolts and a few screws. So just starting off with the screws first. Such awkward angles to get to this. All right, Before I remove these gauges, the odometer reads 301,952 miles. I don't know how accurate that is, but that is a lot. Oh, these screws are tiny. So this is the last one. I'm hoping this doesn't just fall and I don't lose this. So now I can remove it, I think. But there are some connections I need to remove too. All right. So I had to go back and reference that YouTube video that I'm talking about. The only thing keeping this from coming apart, because I already checked it, I'm like, there's no bolts, there's no screws, is this speedometer cable that if you break it, then you have to replace it. Okay. Anyways, there's this clip that you have to get to because if you break it, then you have to replace the whole thing. All right, so now it comes off further and now I can remove this other clip here. So now this last cable, it's almost coming off, okay. Everything is so hard on here. But now it's off. Definitely would not want to work on replacing gauges on these cars. Okay. I'd say we're like about 70-ish% done. One of the last parts is to remove this whole big piece, which is the bottom part of the dash. I think it all comes out in one piece, but I thought there was like a lot of bolts and screws before. I'm looking at this and it has a lot, like shit ton of bolts. So once that comes off, then I can have better access to remove the steering wheel. And I think that's pretty much it, I think. So I need to go ahead and remove this, then the steering wheel, and then we'll see if there are any other surprises that come up. So I think the best way to do this, since I think this all comes off in one piece, is to start from the bottom bolts and then work my way towards the top. I'm so glad those are over with. 1, 2, this is so hard to see. All right. Kind of deviating from this lower dash and working on the steering wheel just because I really want it lowered just because it's in my way. Oh, what is holding this now? Okay, all right, so now that that's lowered, I can continue with the lower dash. So this side is done. Now there's just one more and it should be loose enough for me to get to all of the wires and then be finally able to remove this. Okay, this is not coming out. So I think there may be something else here that's holding it in place. To my surprise, there is one bolt left, is right here, and that's completely my fault because I was too distracted. I was too focused on just lowering the steering wheel just because it was in my way that I completely missed this. So now we're talking. Extra fun part are the connections. I think that's loose enough that I can see all of these connections and work on taking them off. I saved you the boring part of removing all of those connections and clips. That's just so tedious and there were so many of them. So I just contracted Chris to help me get that done. If not, I would have been here much longer than we already were. And then that lower dash, that piece is heavy. I don't think I would have been able to take that out by myself. And it's also very sharp. I almost cut myself like a few times, but now let me show you how it's looking inside. This is how it's looking now. Nothing special. It's just a whole bunch of wires that honestly, it just looks like a big mess. And if I tell you the truth, I really don't know where any of this goes. Just like these bolts right here and these bolts here. All I know is that these belong to the passenger side and then these belong to the driver's side. I don't have to worry about that right now. That is a problem for another day. But let me just show you the bigger picture. This is just pretty much everything that I removed. You know, when I look at it, it doesn't look like much. If I were to see this without having done what I did, I would be like, you know, this is a very simple and quick job, but it is not. You definitely have to take your time and you're going to be there watching every single bolt, watching every single clip. Am I missing more? But this is everything that's off. Some of these things need to be replaced because they were either broken or they got damaged. Some other parts I can keep. I just need to like clean up, but I'll go over all of that on my own. But for now, I no longer need to worry about this dash because I'm not putting it in anytime soon. So that again is another problem for another day. So what's next? It's pretty much cleaning up the interior, getting all of that surface rust out, seeing what to do with that big rust area right there. I don't think there's any others, but we still have a whole ass carriage with like brakes, suspension parts, a whole lot more. So there's a lot more to do with this Mustang. And in addition to that, we still need the engine, we need the transmission. So there is a whole lot. I feel like we're just getting started with this Mustang. All right, bye.